What's up, guys? Welcome to the first ever video of we don't even know what we're gonna even call this or anything, but it's me, Hexiyyy, Trizzy, the Celtics fan, and we better rank the standings for next season. It's like the season's not for another couple months or so it's low key a while, but
Yeah,
we're just gonna
off
you know
off season gets boring, man. You gotta.
gotta do some shit.
So today we're gonna be predicting the standings for the Eastern Conference for the upcoming season. We're gonna be coming to a mutual agreement on where we want to place the teams, and we'll have a bit of a debate over where we want to place certain teams. It should be good.
Yes, sir. All right, so we're gonna
Yeah.
start off with 15 right now and make our way up to one. And at 15, I think, what would you? Who do you want to put at 15?
I mean, for me, it's between Brooklyn and Washington.
So what you're
Yeah,
telling me is Detroit isn't 14 or 15.
I think Detroit's going to have a much better season this year.
Okay,
I
so
think their added pieces with Tobias Harris, they got some shooting around Cade. I
mm,
think Cade's going to have a bit of a breakout year this year.
facts.
And yeah, I think they're going to make their way up towards the plan.
Nah, I can definitely see that. I can. We can already put Detroit at 13 right now. Would you agree with me on that?
Yeah,
I
them
reckon
at 13 is
chuck them at
yeah.
13 right now.
So at 15, who do you think is
I
15?
think Washington will be 15, bro. I,
Okay, I can
I
agree with that.
watching summer league don't really mean shit, but Alex bro, like Kyle Kuzma, he's gonna get some buckets. Jordan Poole, I at this moment I literally don't know what Jordan Poole is like. On a good roster, is he
Yeah.
actually still a reliable, like good role player? But on a bad team, he's just like a someone who chucks up shots and just gets a few points. Like I don't know. I don't know this Washington team like right now. So with that, I'd say 15 and then 14. Brooklyn, we can slip straight into there.
Yeah, I agree with that.
Uh,
I don't know if Jordan Poole's role this year, if he's going to be the starter, or they might opt to start Brogdon at the start of the year, maybe to get some trade value. Because Jordan Poole, off the bench last season when they moved him there,
mm.
he actually started to play a lot better. So I wonder if they keep going with that direction. Yeah.
All right. So we got 15 Washington, 14 Brooklyn, 13 Detroit, 12 right now.
For me, I'm thinking it's either Toronto, Charlotte, and maybe even Chicago.
Where I'm heading towards is honestly Charlotte. I'm not too sure on how healthy LaMelo Ball is going to be next year. I like Charlotte's roster. They definitely
I
got a
do too.
direction like compared to the last 4 or 5 years where they were literally just the worst team in the league and had nowhere to go.
I think they have a direction now.
Mm,
And I
hundred
think
percent.
they just have to keep adding through the draft because
Yep.
I think LaMelo can be their top guy with Brandon Miller. I think those two can make that team
And that's your
playoff
future.
contention in the future.
That's your future right there.
It is.
Lamelo Ball and Brandon Miller, and then you can
Yeah.
fill around the edges. You want to put Charlotte 12 or 11?
I have a little bit of faith in Charlotte this year. I think I might be tempted to put them at 11
Okay.
and have Toronto 12. But
I,
then Toronto didn't have a bad offseason.
I think
They
Toronto are
keep
fine, bro. Like they got a solid team, bro.
yeah,
Scotty Barnes.
they
You still got Emmanuel Quickly, who just re-signed. RJ
yeah.
Barrett. He played great in the Olympics. Scotty Barnes is a fucking all-star player, bro. Like, and then you can got Grady Dick off the bench still. Hopefully Grady Dick plays a bit more. I like him. I think he could be a solid NBA player. I see him as a more of a JJ Redick, Joe Harris, like back in Brooklyn, like just a sharp shooter. I personally don't mind if you want to put Charlotte ahead of Toronto. I can see Charlotte having
Honestly,
a more successful year than Toronto if LaMelo stays healthy.
I
Like
think
it's literally just LaMelo for me.
yeah, I think it'd be a long shot if LaMelo had a fully healthy season from what
Mm,
we've seen. So I
facts.
think it would be smart to put Charlotte at 12 because Toronto's players, they've never shown any signs of like injuries. They all seem pretty durable. So I could agree with Charlotte going 12
All right, we'll put Charlotte at 12 right now. And then we go
and
Toronto
Toronto at
at
11.
11. Yep, I like that.
Yeah.
All right, so now we're in the playing area.
hmm
What are we thinking?
For me, I think the 9-10 is going to be probably Atlanta and Chicago for me.
I agree.
But I don't know how I feel about the Miami Heat this season.
That's not a bad shout. Like
Miami, Terry Rozier,
Jimmy
Jimmy Butler,
Butler on the
Bam,
last year of his
Tyler
deal.
Hero. It's a good roster, but I don't know if I can trust any of them except Bam to stay healthy this season.
Last year, Tyler Hero was injured for a period of time. So was Terry
Terry Rozier
Rozier.
and Jimmy
Jimmy
missed the
Butler
playoffs.
is. That's the thing with
But
Miami
I
Heat. They're
think,
going to be a mediocre team. Like anywhere from, I could see them honestly anywhere from 8 to 10.
yeah, but I think they do have the talent to make a push for maybe a 5 or a 6.
Yeah,
But I just don't trust them enough. But I think I would still have more faith in the Miami Heat being in the 7-8 realm than
9-10.
Chicago and Atlanta. I think Chicago and Atlanta stay 9-10.
All right, so let's focus on 9-10 right now because right now we're tossing up between Chicago and Atlanta, right? Where's your head around that?
Atlanta is a tough one for me because they've had a lot of very average seasons over the last few years. When you look at that team in 2021, they didn't have a DeJounte Murray, and Trae Young still managed to take them to the conference finals.
Yeah.
And they have Zachary Ricochet, however you pronounce his name,
Mm.
first overall pick coming to the team.
Jalen Johnson, who I
Jalen,
like. Clint Capella. Who's their starting two guard? Will it be Zach? Oh, bro, Bogdanovic just had a great
yeah, he's still there.
Olympic run for Serbia. If he's coming off the bench or if he's starting, he's still an elite player for them. Can
He
shoot the
is.
ball.
I think he's a great role player wherever he goes.
Hundred
He's
percent.
just you can never have a lack of good 3-point shooters. But
Um,
then for me, Chicago, they still have Kobe White, Josh Giddey, who everyone is underrating at this
I
point
I
because
agree. I think he's gonna have a great year.
so do I. He could average this year like 15, 7, and 6.
100%. The thing I'm questioning is who's gonna fucking start for that team. That's the
I,
main
I
thing.
think it has. I think it has to be Josh Giddey at the 1, Kobe White at the 2,
And then you go.
Levine at the 3.
When you mention their guard rotation, like we said, Josh Giddey, Kobe White, Ayo Dosumu, and then you also got Lonzo Ball, who's literally going to be coming back from
Oh, he is
a
back this
couple of
season.
years. So
Yeah,
that guard rotation is very, very stacked. And I would be
yeah.
surprised if all four guards stay healthy throughout the whole year.
I think Lonzo, he doesn't have much impact coming back this season.
And
Just because he's been away for so long,
yeah,
and you'd have to ease him into the minutes. I
mm,
think it'll be a while before we see Lonzo playing full minutes for this team.
that's fair enough to say. So with that being said, who do we like more? Because I could flip a coin for this one. This is it's really
So could
close.
I.
I'll let you decide.
I think Chicago just has better overall talent while still having Levine and Vucevic. I'm not sure about their 4 spot with Patrick Williams. They brought in Martis Buzelis. I think Chicago will be better than Atlanta next
All right.
season.
So let's go and go ahead and put Atlanta at
Atlanta at
10,
10,
and then
Chicago at 9.
all right. So as we are recording right now, we got Washington at 15, Brooklyn 14, Detroit, Charlotte, Toronto, Atlanta, Chicago. So now we're starting to get into like the range where it's a bit more difficult. Like
Yeah, these are gonna. I think a lot of these teams will be contending for the championship next season. I
I,
think the East has come a long way. It's not that much weaker than the West anymore because you still have all these teams whose main goal will be the championship this season.
I'm gonna just go ahead and decide for us, and I think you'll agree with me, but we want to go Miami at 8.
Yeah, I just can't see them being better than any of the other teams
I
next
agree.
season.
I agree. I agree. I reckon we go ahead and chuck Miami at 8.
Yeah,
Easy,
yeah.
easy, just placement for them. And now,
Now this is where it gets very, very difficult for me.
mm,
Putting one of these teams in a 7 seed just feels wrong
mm.
because these are all very quality teams.
I'm tossing between Orlando, Indiana, maybe
Mm,
Cleveland.
yeah,
I don't want to say Cleveland because I feel like a lot of people underrate this whole entire squad.
I'm such a fan of a lot of these teams. It's hard to put one at 7. I'm huge on Orlando this season. I really think they can make a push for a top 3 or 4 seed this year. But then with Milwaukee still having Giannis and Dame, Philly adding Paul George and a lot of quality role players, it's really tough for me. And New York adding Bridges, Boston coming off a championship. It's hard to look past those 4 teams as being 1 through 4.
I agree. I think we low key have our like 1 to 4 set up. That's now just from
Yeah.
5 to 7 where we want to go. And I think right now, if I was to pick a team right now, probably go Orlando. Honestly,
Ooh,
they're still a young team. Paolo, probably one of the most underrated number 1 overall picks in a long time, bro. He doesn't get talked
yeah.
about the way he deserves to.
I think he goes All NBA this season.
It's not a bad shout. Pick up KCP. You probably move Jalen Suggs to the 1. Still
Yeah.
got France, who is still a young player. You just paid him. I mean, and then you
Mhm.
also got Wendell Carter.
And you still have Jonathan Isaac on the team, who had a bit of a
Jonathan
bounce back
Isaac,
season.
he can play a backup center or small ball center for
You
them.
can.
So
Yeah.
honestly, I'm gonna go with Orlando. If you want to try to convince me
I don't
into
know. I
putting
don't know if
someone
this
else there, then
sounds
go
crazy.
ahead.
I don't know if this sounds crazy
I already know who you're
considering
going. I already know who
they
you're
just
going.
came off a
Indiana.
conference finals
It's
run.
Indiana. I knew you were gonna
Indiana.
say what
Indiana. I
what don't you like about Indiana that you think Orlando could be better? Because when I look at Indiana, I think of them as a fast regular season team who's just gonna get up and down. You still got Pascal Siakam, Tyrese Halliburton. I love Andrew Nemhard. Aaron Nesmith was amazing this postseason, and then you also
Benedict
got
Mathurin coming back.
Benedict Mathurin. You got Obi Toppin. You got T.J. McConnell, who's one of the best backup point guards in the whole league. I love their roster
Yeah.
a lot, and I don't want to put them
And
any.
you still have Jarris Walker who hasn't played any minutes yet. He might
Exactly,
get some
bro.
run this year. They
Exactly.
have such a deep roster, but I almost think it's too deep
I don't.
where
I disagree.
they can't play all their players.
That doesn't matter, bro.
And
And
yeah,
then you also have Ben Shepherd, who we didn't even mention, who was a fucking key factor for them
yeah,
in their run to the conference
Paris.
finals.
Yeah,
Personally,
yeah.
bro, I'll go Indiana at 6.
I think out of those top four teams we mentioned earlier, I think one of them is going to have either bad injury luck or just not gel like we expected them to. I think one of them might end up being around the sixth seed. The standings never play out how you think they're going to. There's
Exactly.
always some surprises and some disappointments.
And not even to mention like injuries. Like injuries is the
Yeah,
biggest thing. You saw Philadelphia last year be one of the best teams. Joel Embiid missed significant time. They dropped down to the 7th. Shit like
yep.
that you can't control. So I'm gonna respect Indiana and I'm gonna put them at 6.
Yeah. You can't forget though that Orlando was better than Indiana in the standings last season. I mean, I think those teams are right on par with each other. Honestly, I couldn't be mad at either one going at seven.
All right. So let's put Indiana at 6. So Orlando at 7, Indiana at 6. I like that.
I know you like your boy Halliburton,
I love
so
Halliburton. I'm a real big fan
I
of
love
him.
him too, man. Now, I think Cleveland just goes five. I mean, it's really hard to look past those top four teams, so I think I have to put Cleveland
I
here.
think Cleveland just fits right there.
They didn't improve enough in the offseason for me to put them any higher than they were last season.
Nah, I
And with
agree.
other teams around them getting better, I just don't think they did enough.
I agree. I think that's an easy decision. I think put Cleveland at
Yeah,
5.
I agree.
All right.
Right. Now this is where things get very interesting.
Facts. I think I know where you're going, and I think I can agree. And do you want to go and put Milwaukee at 4?
I was thinking that at first,
Mm,
but I think another year with them being together,
yeah.
I think they're going to be a bit better. I know a lot of people are very, very high on New York this year, but I think I want to put them four.
See, I don't like that.
I think they have a great team, but I really don't know how I feel about Brunson being able to carry the load for this full season. I'm interested to see what Randall comes back and does because I don't know how their team fits this season,
With
whether
Rando.
it's Brunson with Mikel, Ananobi, Randall, and Robinson.
They got a
It's a
stacked
really tough
team.
team
They
to
got a
gauge right now.
stacked team, bro.
Yeah.
Personally, I think Milwaukee at 4. But I
Yes.
do like what Milwaukee did this offseason.
Bringing in Gary Trent was a
Gary
huge
Trent was
pickup
a.
for them.
And they picked up someone else. Torian Prince, man.
Oh, right.
How could I forget?
Torian. You going with Darvin Ham?
Exactly, bro. I think at 4, I would personally have to go with Milwaukee. I like what Philly did and New York a lot more this offseason. That's why I think like Milwaukee just falls down to 4 for me.
Me, it's just hard to put Giannis, who's probably a top two player on the planet right now, down in the four seed when he's still playing with an old aging team, but they're still great players with Dame, Bobby Portis,
Off the bench.
and then their additions with Gary Trent and Torian Prince.
Hey, we
I
can't
mean,
forget about Darvin Ham. He's an addition.
Darvin Ham is an assistant coach. I think that's a great pickup for them. If you feel strongly about Milwaukee at four,
Mm.
I'm not against it.
I think right now we just put Milwaukee at 4. To be fair, from 2 to 4, I think they can change just like any time throughout the
I
season.
agree. They're all interchangeable.
Yeah,
I think it depends on injuries for those three teams this year.
100%, 100%. And then at 2, 3, I think we can both agree that Boston is clearly 1.
The start of a dynasty run, you know what's going on.
And then
Woo.
2, 3, I think
I personally, I really like. I think Philly can go two this year.
I think Philly's off season was probably the best in the
I
whole
think it was
NBA.
best in the league.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So with saying that, bro, if you want to go ahead and put Philly at 2, I don't
I
mind.
just
I just don't know how healthy their team is. You got Paul George and Embiid, who both are unreliable to stay on the court for a whole entire season. So that's just me thinking, how does the health hold up for them?
yeah. For me, I think that with Paul George and Embiid,
Mm.
with Maxi, I think that most of the season you're going to have at least two of them,
I
and I
agree.
think having at least two of them makes them good enough to slide into that two seed.
All right, then. I think you go ahead and just put them at 2 and put New York at 3. That is our order. We have Boston as the favorites to be number 1 seed. I don't know if you want to talk on them for a
I
second.
mean, Boston, I mean, we know what they just did.
Exactly.
Their last season was absolutely dominant. It brought back the same team. I just don't see them
Falling
being
off.
any other spot apart from that one seed.
I think that's going to wrap it up for this first episode, guys. Appreciate you guys for watching. Make sure to go follow us on our Twitters at Hexiyyy, at Trizzy on Twitter. And yeah, appreciate you guys watching. We'll be back another week. Appreciate it. See
Yes,
ya.
sir.